here at NBC that they had somewhere stuffed underneath, and it got pulled out because we weren't doing a news show. We were doing Hire the Incompetent that Rosie Schuster wrote, and it was about people like my character was supposed to work in a hamburger joint, you know, and she said, I found a couple of things, and so I put that wig on, and everybody said, that wig's too big, the chroma key is making it go, you know, it wasn't good. And everyone was yelling at me. I said, yeah, but it's funny, let me wear this. So I did that character, and she got laughs. So then I went into Alan Zweibel, who's like in charge of Update, and we wanted to work together on a feature section of Update. And I said, let me do that wig. It was a wig still and an accent, you know. I said, let me do that on Update. And he said, well, what are we going to call her? So we thought about it. He said, how does she talk? And we sat at his desk, and we went through how she talked, and we thought she'd be a science editor or a medical health expert. And then he said, what do you want to call her? And I'd been home going, I'd been singing a lot, I don't know why, the Name Game song. You know, Gilda, Gilda, Bobilda, Banana, Fana, Fulfilda, FIFA. And I was thinking of changing my name to Gilda, Gilda, Bobilda. But, and then I had also happened to see on that night Roseanne Scarmadella. I had heard that name, you know, and I'd seen her on TV, and I thought it was funny. It sounded funny.
The New York newscast.
Yeah, right. And so, so I went Rosanna Dana to him from see the little conglomeration of things, and he said, that's great, that's funny. And then we started writing her, and I can't remember, the first one I did had everything in it about chicken, when you get fried chicken, you know, and you don't know, there's one piece that's all fried and there's cornflakes on and everything, but when you get down, you don't know what it is. What part of a chicken is that? I never saw that on a chicken, you know. And we found that between me and Zweibel, Alan Zweibel, there was a certain part of our sense of humor, you know. I call it the Emperor's New Clothes, you know, that says you're naked when you're naked, that Roseanne could do. And of course, then there's the playing off of Jane, who is, you know, a parody of the newscaster. Like, I always find female newscasters always look like they're afraid to lose their job, you know, because they want to be credible. And I love that Roseanne's like a gross pig playing against Jane's proper newswoman. So that's the birth of one character. It surprised me how far, you know, how people liked it and everything.
People love that character.
Yeah.
But do you think people mix you up with your characters, or do they call you on the, if somebody recognizes you on the street, do they call you by a character name rather than Gilda Radner?
I've also seen it over the 5 years I've done the show. I have seen it change. The first thing that people yelled to me was "Never Mind" from Emily Latella, who was also on the news. And so everywhere I went, I'd hear never mind, from behind me all around. And then in the second or third year of the show, it was Baba Wawa. And so I'd hear that, Baba Wawa, and now it's Roseanne.
Have you ever met Barbara Walters?
Yeah.
Did she know that you had done what you had done to her, or for her, or about her?
Yeah.
And what happened?
She was great. It was at a party at the Canadian Embassy, and she pulled me over to the side and she said, I introduced myself. I was thrilled to meet her. And she said, come here. She said, come here. She said, show me what you do. And so I
show me what you do.
Yeah, she wanted to.
Barbara now. Tell me what you do.
So I went, hello, this is Baba Wawa, filled with Queveluation, we're pulling Wapate. She just looked at me, you know, and then she went, she said, I'm working on my Oz. And she walked away. And I've always had positive feedback from her about it, because we had the same makeup person. And
Bobby Armstrong.
Yeah, right, for sure. I never know if I'm supposed to tell, you know.
But she's such a wonderful makeup artist. I think everybody should know Bobby Armstrong.
Oh, good, say it, because she is wonderful. She took care of me, and here she did Barbara Walters' makeup all these years, and here I was doing Baba Wawa, and she knew like how to do my lips, and I would ask her hints and stuff, like how should I stand, how should I, and she would help, but it was all done with love. And believe me, I owe a great deal to Barbara Walters, because her success made me possible. It's the only imitation that I do, and it's just luck.
if the truth be told, Bobby Armstrong also does Tom Brokaw's makeup. Part 2 of the Gilda Radner interview in a moment. First message.
I sometimes pose as John Belushi, so it's all right.
Oh, station break, I'm sorry.
Walter.
Or sometimes, someday I'd be talking and it would be a different kind of voice. So then there'd be a wig for it or a costume for it, and then they became little complete characters.
Does the wig and the costume have a lot to do with how you behave during a characterization?
It just enriches it for me, you know. It's fun. Always, my whole life, since I was a little tiny kid, I loved to put on outfits and pretend I was something. I remember I used to do Santa Claus, and I would use, remember, undershirts that had straps, you know, little thin straps, because you can put that like right over your ears and hangs down. A lot of people didn't think of that. And a little red cap down the stairs, Santa Claus.
An underwear beard.
An underwear beard.
Undershirt beard.
An undershirt beard.
That's very good.
Always. I remember in college, I was reading Moby Dick. It was assigned in school, and I suddenly stood up in my dormitory and I made Queequeg's outfit, you know, like what I thought he looked like out of, I painted my face, I took paper clips and made earrings and everything, and went down the hall. It must be, it's like a strange illness, putting on outfits. And
but ever since you've been a very, very little girl, you have played around with a fantasy life, haven't you?
Right. You know, 2 sheets on a line in the backyard, curtains,
stage.
Right?
But what about an audience? Did you have an audience? Did the other kids come around to watch you, or was it all in your own mind, like the little character you play who slams the door and then does it all himself?
Pretty much. I made up the audience, too.
Did you, at a very early age, want for yourself a television career?
I didn't know. I just took great comfort in television. The Jackie Gleason show. I used to look forward to it, you know. And Ben Casey, remember?
But when did you decide you were going to be on television?
It wasn't that decision, but I think the games that I always played as a kid were, you know, we used to go out to the address pole on our front lawn and sing into it like a mic, and they were always show business
oriented. There's a stick on your lawn that says number 74 Crescent Lane?
That's right,
and
but it had a little ball at the top, you know, so I would, the address part had fallen off. It went like that, and just the thing was there, and I was just my height, you know, so I'd go out there, and it's 6:30, 7 in the morning.
Not a very normal childhood. You made underwear beard.
I know.
And you talked into your dress bowl.
Here's another thing I used to do. In the winter, instead of building a snowman, I used to build a chair out of snow, you know, like a easy chair with arms, and I'd sit in it till it melted.
Very good. Gilda Radner, you were offered a very big part. You were offered a part of Olive Oil in the Popeye movie, which you decided to decline. Do you have any regrets about that?
No, because at the time I was offered it, I was involved in that little girl playing in the backyard was then opening at the Winter Garden in my own show.
Called Gilda.
Yeah, Gilda Live from New York, or whatever we ended up calling it, with Father Guido Sarducci, and I being on the stage and getting a chance to do things over again. And I must admit, my show, I didn't do Macbeth. I didn't do Neil Simon or anything. I did what people... See, I never could have gotten into the Winter Garden without Saturday Night Live. And the characters that I found with writers here that made me popular enough to get into the Winter Garden. So I kept doing them there. And that's what I felt, that the show I did on Broadway was for my fans, you know? I didn't want to trick them. I didn't want to
They came to see a certain thing and you gave them that certain thing.
Exactly.
Now you have taken that Broadway show and put it onto the screen.
Right, it was...
I did not get to see the show at the Winter Garden. I saw the movie. Is the movie a faithful replica of what happened at the Winter Garden?
Absolutely.
Except for some backstage cutaways where they show you getting made up.
What it is people, it would be like you got to get a front row seat, like everyone gets a front row seat for the show. You get to see me close up.
Gilda, word is that your contract with NBC or Saturday Night Live is up in the spring. Are you going to renew it? Are you going to stay on Saturday night? Have you thought about what you're going to be doing after your summer vacation?
It's when I got this job, I kept saying, hey, when this contract's up, I'll be 34 years old. I thought it was a big joke, you know, and now I'm at the end of that big joke. The 5 years are up. I don't think I want to do, you know, I think that's it for Saturday night. Although there's few places like it where you get to fail, where you get to try something brand new, where you get to start all over from step one, all over again every week. And like I've always called it, it's like doing the opening night of an under-rehearsed off-Broadway show. And the excitement that's generated there. I was talking to Lorne Michaels just last night about the fact that we've learned to live life at this intense pace, and the rest of life seems slow in comparison, you know. When you're, like he said, when he used to do a special in Canada, they'd spend like 6 months preparing an hour special. And if you gear your life to 6 months to prepare something, then that's what you do. And here, like, we do it in 3 days.
And it's longer than an hour.
That's right.
It's an hour and a half every week.
And the energy generated in that studio.
So what are you saying? That you think that you've burned this up now and it's time to go to another level of your life?
Yes, I think so. I'd have to be, you know, like what we were saying before. I think it's time to make way for, you know, new people.
Gilda Radner. Her new movie is called Gilda, and it is all about herself and her characters with